Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining us here in Track E, the International Track. I'm Carl Gerber, Chief Data Officer for Deloitte US. Our MIT CDOIQ Symposium continues to expand our global reach. We have an excellent lineup of sessions today that bring a world view. You are in session 15E, the 3-year journey of implementation data governance in oil and gas company from an idea to a valuable data service. Active digital transformation has led business processes to become dependent on data. It has created an explosive demand for data. In this topic, our presenters will talk about how they create and implement a data governance system based on the DAMA DMBok body of knowledge framework. They will develop a platform based on OSDU principles, create and scale their team, and also about how they moved from an internal startup to a valuable corporate data service. A few housekeeping items for our session. This session is being recorded for replays together with the presentation materials from this and all sessions will be made available to participants after the conference. We will also have a Q&A session, and what you'll need to do is go into the Q&A tab on Whova and add your question and then vote up other questions that are there, and we'll address them at the end of this session. Now, let me introduce Alexander Erofeev from GAZPROM, who will lead this session. Alexander, over to you.
Thank you, Carl. Hello, everybody. Give me seconds, I will share my screen, and then we'll start. Do you see the presentation? Is it shared?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, great. So today, me and Andzhey, we will share the story about our journey from the very beginning into high level of maturity. So at the beginning, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a data governance professional with more than 15 years of experience. And during this time, I work in 3 different industries like telecommunications, financial industry and bank, and now it's in oil and gas. So during this time, I had an opportunity to implement the data governance function twice, from the very beginning to high level of maturity. Andzhey, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Andzhey Arshavskiy. I specialize on artificial intelligence with around 20 years experience in this area. I was focusing on artificial intelligence since working in Microsoft, where we developed cloud numeric libraries, includes machine learning algorithms. Also, we was doing artificial intelligence services for banking in Sberbank, for NLMK, it's a manufacturing company, and here in GAZPROM NEFT. And I will talk after Alexander about our artificial intelligence services and what we do in the platform to enable development of services based on data. So thank you. And Alexander, please continue with the data governance topic.
Yeah. Instead of Andzhey, I will focus today on organizational development and organizational capacities to the managing data. Just a few words about the GAZPROM NEFT. Probably many of you heard about the GAZPROM, who is the main gas producer and our shareholder. But the GAZPROM, it's a different company. It's a vertically integrated oil company with own upstream, downstream, and retail divisions. And we are one of the top 10 biggest oil companies in the world. We're structured as a holding company. This means that we have a headquarters, subsidiaries, joint venture, and fully distributed organizational model. And also, oil and gas industry, it's an industry with a long history. So it means that some of our field assets were established decades ago, and we have a different in the level of the equipment and the production automations. And today we are undergoing digital transformations, and we see that the digital transformations, it's an additional source of additional value and profits by the increasing efficiency and automation business processes. The main driver for the data governance implementation was the digital transformation, which began in 2017. So at the one hand, we have more than 100 digital transformation projects only in upstream division. And more than 70% of them are depending on data. On the other hand, we have a complex IT landscape where we have more than 200 IT systems, which is data sources for us, more than 3.5 petabytes of data, and more than 10 data silos, 10 data warehouses. Before, at the past, data issues were solved locally in each function, in each department. Generally, it happened because of the low demand for the integrating the data, but it changes. Today, many of digital projects requested data from the different divisions and combine them. But as you can see at this slide, each department and sometimes each subsidiary and joint venture has their own storage and tons of files. What does it mean for us? That we have a huge duplication of data and no common understanding of location of this data and problems with data availability. As we recognized at the beginning, for our digital teams, it takes weeks for finding the data and getting access to them. And another issue for us was the data ownership. There was no personal responsibility for the data and their condition. So, as you can see, it's a big challenges, and the big challenges needs a big solutions. We understood that we need launch activities in all fields. First of all, we started to provide data services for data consumers. And then we started to develop the basis for data services, which includes data processes, which are based on DAMA DMBok, and data platform, which is based on OSDU principles. Later, I will tell you a few words about the OSDU and what is it. And we need to recruit and educate 3 types of data professionals. One of them in the CDO office, it's a data governance team. Another in business units, it's data owners and then data consumers, and the IT team who develop data platform and provide business services. The data governance activities were in place before I came to the company, but they weren't realized their full potential. We understood that generally it's because of the lack of involvement of the business units. And we decided to implement 3 key principles for all data activities. That the data-driven project must include and be the part of business activity. And the first task in this kind of activity is identify demand for the data and who owns it. And we do not do investment into the data activity until it's done. As a result, we structured our project team in this way. So we have 2 parts of data project, which includes business specialists, and they're working together with technical specialists. At the left side, you can see the first part of the project, and it creates the clear understanding what data needed for the process automation or app implementation. And we map, and when we have it, when we qualify the demand for the data, our technical team work on the implementation and providing data through the data platform. And as a result, we onboard business application onto the data platform. And it's very important that the last step is onboarding the business app, because when business started to use the new business app, they can create an additional value. For the scaling and supporting this approach, we added new roles, which was new for our company. And CDO office, in the place that new roles in CDO office, in business units, and in IT team. And CDO office in our company responsible for development and implementation data processes and own and develop data services. Also, we are creating the business requirements for the data platform. In the business units, we placed role which is doing the data ownership and clarify the demand for the data, and they're responsible for data quality regular management. They create the rules for the data access, because only business users who create the data can clarify who can get the access for the data, who cannot. And also, they're doing the business requirements for the data, what they're looking for. And also, we scale IT team, which are developing data platform and artificial intelligence platform, and providing data services for data owners and data consumers. As I said at the beginning, GAZPROM NEFT structured as the holding company. And for us, it means that we need to place these kinds of roles into each level, into headquarters and into our subsidiaries, and into our IT subsidiaries for IT roles. And it was not difficult when we work in the headquarters, because our headquarters placed in big cities, whereas many companies and universities have the data specialists. But in our subsidiaries, we generally placed in regions with the small towns. It was a big challenge. But you know, here COVID helped us a lot, because it's changed culture, and it gives us opportunity to work remotely from the big cities. The most important part in that structure, it's a business part, which is the data domains. What is data domains? We define the data domains as a combination of the business processes and IT system. And we did it for implementing the business ownership in our company. So, and for each data domain, we appointed a data domain leader. And in this step, very important to get the right person, because the data domain leader has enough authority to change the business processes and raise investment for the IT system development, because the data is a result of how business units and subsidiary operating according to the business processes, which are automated in IT systems. As a result, in upstream division, we create the 20 data domains. What I'd like to say about that domains else, that it's directly dependent on organizational structure. I'll give you an example. Now, our department transforming into a product-based structure. For us, it means that we need to add a few more product-based data domains and transfer the data from the old data domains to the new ones. The interesting task for us was to understand how to measure our current situation and understand our maturity level in each data domain. So for this issue, we create a 9 type of metrics, and it provides us opportunity in a simple way to show which is the high priority data for us and which is the low priority. At this slide, you can see the matrix where at the bottom line, we have the data demand. So it's a list of data elements and their quantity which requested from the data consumers. And at the vertical line, you can see the level of maturity for the domains based on that kind of 9 metrics from the previous slide. So as a result, at the right side, we see the high priority data domains. For example, exploration geophysics, there is a data domain with the high demand and the low maturity level. It means that it's priority for investment in data governance activities. And instead of this, at the left side, we have data domain, which is reserve balance and auditing. And we see a high level of maturity and no demand for this data. It means that it's low priority for our activity. The first thing, as I said, it was providing the data services as early as possible. We started to do it despite the unavailability of the platform. Maybe we started to do it in the first month when we came, when I came to the company, with just a few guys from IT team. So, and first service which we started to provide, it was a data delivery. So we collected requests from the data consumers and started to deliver the data. What is important that it's a real practice activity, real practice approach, which could help us to understand which focus we need to follow in our data governance program. For example, we change focus from the headquarter demand into our subsidiary companies, because we recognize that the most requests for the data and the most of implementations of the new apps in the subsidiaries. And also, by the practice approach, we understood that more than 90% data are creating in the subsidiaries. And now it's our focus based on this practice. And here is just 5 kinds of data services that were in the beginning. During the time, we had new services and develop our data governance system by the practice and demand. So, what also I'd like to say that with regular data consumers, we create the hybrid approach. At the beginning, I showed you triangle, which is on the left side. It's a data-centric approach. And at the right side of the slide, you can see how product team was structured. What we have now? Now we have with the regular data consumers, the hybrid approach. What does it mean for us? That the product teams placed inside of his team into the center data and data services. And now data services work inside of the product on a daily basis. And a few words about data platform. And here I will share with you our experience about collaboration within the OSDU community. I was very surprised when I came into oil and gas industry that here we have collaboration between oil companies, oil service companies, and IT companies, and they all together develop the data platform. But later I understood that why it happened. It happened because oil companies have the same challenges, and they need to get rid of data silos and place all the data at a single platform and provide the simple access for the business app to the data and metadata. And now we are working together with another oil companies and develop our data platform together. And it's very interesting case, and I think that it's also could be suitable for in other industries. And at the end, I'd like to say that as a result of collaboration, we create the digital landscape where data is a part of all architectural and organizational levels. And now we are developing digital products all through all levels. We do organizational changes, we change the business processes, we onboard business apps onto the data platform, and we are collecting all the data from the different data sources by the business owner. I read the questions at the chat, at the whole platform, and the question was about how we measure our effectiveness. What is our KPIs? There at this slide. So we measure our effectiveness by these 5 high-level metrics. Of course, we have more, but for top management and for us, we recognize the dynamic of these metrics. We see how many data domains with the data manager and data stewards. Also, we measure time to data. It's how much time, how many time we spend from the data request until we deliver the data to the consumers. Also, we measure compliance with the data quality SLA. We added a new kind of SLA into our company. Also, we measure the numbers of users and applications which are onboarded into the data platform and their satisfaction index. And another thing, which is not only our responsibilities, it's also responsibilities of the digital transformation teams. It's a presence of the primary data in IT systems, not in the files. So that's it. Andzhey, please go ahead, share your part.
Thank you, Alexander. Hello again to everyone. I will share my slides. My deck of slides.
I will back to you at the end, where we will tell with Andzhey together about our successful practices.
Yeah, actually, our speeches were linked because we work together with Alexander on many projects, which includes data, and Alexander responsible generally for data governance in upstream, and I'm responsible for center, which works with AI solutions and platforms. So we link together in the top and in the bottom. Actually, artificial intelligence solutions are firstly require the data and data with a high quality. So that's why we linked very tight at the upper side of this pie. And in the bottom, we developing a platform from the IT perspective of it. So my speech will be generally about artificial intelligence, and also will bring some examples of what we are doing, not only the theory and the architecture. So first, our goal is to make our company more efficient on the whole value add chain. So we have upstream, we have downstream, we have logistics, we have distributions, and all these parts of our business could be automated and become more efficient using artificial intelligence. But we also believe that artificial intelligence and data could help us link this different stage of our processes and make it much more efficient. But we on the first step right now. But not only efficiency of the business in our top list of our priorities, but also we want to make our company better managed and more clearly managed. And also we're fighting to be more safer regarding to our employees. So actually, the center which works with a platform and artificial intelligence was started here in 2017. Now we have more than 100 employees and work on more than 100 projects in different stages. And we aim to be a benchmark for the industry regarding artificial intelligence. Actually, the center divided into a number of competency centers. Most of them are related to artificial intelligence. And one of them is dedicated to a platform which provides tools, storage, and other facilities internally to make the work with data and with AI solutions more efficient, to develop applications faster and make it more safe. Regarding to artificial intelligence competence centers, we have actually three directions. One of them dedicated to the general AI methods, which we understand as number of machine learning approach, common and widely known as artificial networks, Bayesian networks, and decision trees, and all other methods. But in addition to this, we are focusing on optimization methods and precise mathematician methods, trying to link them together. Also, we have a center for business intelligence and work with Sorcerer's BI and work with Alexander. Also, he mentioned about this direction. Regarding our focus, how we prioritize our work here. So first of all, we aim to develop as much more valuable for our company AI solutions. We work with business to clarify the tasks, make the mathematician tasks positioning, and also developing. So we gathering a team from our competency centers and also with our partners and academy in order to build solutions and then support the solutions. But also we are focusing on methodology and to make our solutions based on a similar approach and documented also, because these solutions could be supported by different teams, and some stages could be made by different teams. So all solutions should be standardized in order to support them and to develop them in the long term, because we have 100 of projects, and all these projects should be similar in approach. Also, we are working to provide data services, the technologies to store data and access data, link the data to internal cloud storage. So we don't. So one of the issues that we have is that we do not have access to cloud solutions like Amazon or others. And we need to build internal infrastructure with similar capabilities and more. That's because we cannot, by our restrictions, internal restrictions, share the data as easy as we probably want to do. So that's why we need to make a whole stack of data services and MLOps services. Also, we work a lot have a lot of work with external partnership with other industrial companies, also with government in order to work on legal issues and influence what is happening here in Russia in artificial intelligence and academia and resources to have more resources with competencies in AI. If you talk about the platform, what areas are we cover? It's data preparation, data availability services, which I mentioned before, and which we work with a hard link with Alexander. But also we're making a platform for machine learning operations, both on development stage and on productive stage, which linked with DevOps and helps our data scientists get enough resources, necessary tools in order to start new projects, and then make this development through DevOps process available in production. In addition, we work on a machine learning model repository, which exceeds actually GitHub capabilities, and lets our teams share their achievements with other teams and start some similar projects, not from the scratch, but based on what has been developed in the similar areas before. One of the areas which is the investigation stage, and we only think about it, is a citizen data science instruments, which could probably allow our engineers and specialists in general business to work with data and data science through the visual tools and play with data. So we're trying to identify the demand and think about the tools which can help to do this. Briefly, I will show you the overall scheme of our platform. We will not dive deep in the structure. I just want to mention that it consists from the data source connectivity and data availability through the batch integration, and also by the streaming. Integration with external data, tools which helps to make self-service ETL processes, all what included in data warehousing, supporting of data management and data processing. Also including the tools and solutions in the field of data security services. So all this is combined into the also AI platform and visualization tools. Now we'll break just a few examples of what we are doing with artificial intelligence. The first example is regarding a core sample recognition and classification system. So when we're developing a field, we are making a seismic investigation about the geology to make decision on what is inside and how to get out the oil. But this investigation not always precise, and later we are getting more precise information when we're drilling the hole and getting the core outside. And then we need to analyze this core, and this process was before a manual. So geologist just was looking at into the image and make some classification of what they see regarding the structure of core. And we made a visual classification of rock types, oil saturation, and stratifactoring based on machine learning and neural networks. Investigation and laboratory analysis of full-size core for decision-making or on subsequent field research programs. Another example is a cognitive well investigation system, which allows us to predict a well production efficiency following oxidization. Oxidization is one of the operations that we can do, and in some cases, this oxidization process bring value and the hole gives out more oil. In some cases, it doesn't bring any value, but takes money. And based on historical data, we made a very good decision, which helps much more precise make this solution. So it's a recommendation system. Another example is a magnetogram interpretation. So we have in the field a lot of pipelines through which going the oil, water, different chemical fluids, and we have some issues, some breaks in this pipelines, which is very hard to detect or predict that they will happen in the future. So we bought like a robot which follows inside these pipelines magnetic scanning of the surface. But working with this scanning surface was manual and took a lot of time. So we have hundreds of miles of these pipelines. So for analysis of these defects on the internal surface of pipelines, uses magnetogram data collected by the flow detector was made by neural network and brings a lot of value in order to fasten this process. Another example is from a little bit different stage. So we develop a cognitive tools for geological analysis. So it's a digital solution for automatic filtering of ground wave noise on the seismic data, which we get when we start to develop the field. It can automate one of the seismic processing steps by reducing the required time from 1 month to several days, and thus helping the geologists to understand geology better and then make a better decision how to plan the field development. Also, we work with HSC, trying to make, as I mentioned before, our employees safer. It analyzes the safety barriers to perform prevent accidents and production sites. So it's actually based on neural language processing on the text messages, which enables to classify the incoming alerts and messages from the production sites according to their types. For example, dangerous conditions and dangerous actions. These messages automatically link to the safety barriers, and HSC assess the performance of the currently implemented barriers. In addition to this, we have a number of big products. Actually, it's 5 of products which we're not developing completely internally ourselves, but involving academia, showing a lot of simple tasks in big companies. Currently, artificial intelligence algorithms actually struggle in cases where either data is limited or optimized system has too much uncertainties. So the complexity of the object we're trying to model is much more complex than the data available. So the traditional R&D process in companies like large companies like ours considers implementation of existing methods of IE rather than researching new methods, because we don't have academic and researchers on a very high level of academics skills. So we established together with leading Russian IE research groups a center with which we developing such a complex solutions which requires more research and new IE methods. One of the example is producing automatically refined model of the whole field storage, not only based on the data that we have in the beginning, but which adopts to a new available data, including the data that I mentioned before with core samples and other data which we constantly receive during the not only field development but also field production, and which helps us to get more oil. So this general also I brought some examples which helps to understand more clearly on what we are working. Generally, all this work with IE couldn't be done with great data governance. So data governance is a base for all the effects that we can get out of the artificial intelligence and data analysis. Thank you very much. Now we, with Alexander, are ready to answer questions.
Andzhey, thanks a lot. Very interesting and impressive as usual, especially that part about activities. So actually, I have one more message about our successful practices. Yeah, I'd like to share one more slide, and then we'll be ready to answer the questions. So I will take the presentation back.
Okay, I'll stop it.
Shows. Yeah, at the end, we would like to share some external opportunities and successful practice. I already told you about collaboration within the OSDU community, where we're developing a data platform altogether. Also, another external opportunity is industrial data model, which is a PPDM. And here we have actually I read the questions in the chat. One question was about the data standardization. Yes, if you mean the data standardization as a data modeling, yeah, here we are using the PPDM, and the challenges here that we need to adopt this model for the new technologies, because PPDM was created for relational databases. And OSDU platform, modern data platform, includes solutions for unstructured data, like S3 storage, like HDFS, etc. So, and we need to adopt it. And what it's another activities what we are doing within the OSDU. Yeah, and another good practice which helps us a lot. It's data governance standards, the body of knowledge of DMBok. And also we think that a few practices which we have could be suitable for internal practice. I mean, could be suitable for other companies who are implementing data governance. It's a focus on the supporting business process automation and creating business value, not only on reporting and analytics, as usually happens. This is cross-functional data teams. I shared how we structured the teams, and involving products and business process owners, providing data services as early as possible, as I mentioned before. And another thing which is also help us a lot is pilot solutions, at least in one subsidiary before the scaling. And another last successful practice, it's data partnership. I didn't explain it before, but what we did in upstream division, we have near 10 digital transformation programs which are implementing new digital products. And we placed in each program data partner who help the programs to get the data what they're looking for. It's one thing, and another thing, they help to implement data governance processes and solutions inside that digital transformation program. Yeah. So. Now we are ready to answer the questions.
All right. Alexander, I think if I could summarize a couple of the questions, it's about the collaboration across companies in the oil and gas industry. Mm-hmm. You spoke of the open platform and that there is a common data model for the industry. As you think about the collaboration, is there a lot of data sharing going on? Are companies actually willing to share their data? And has there been any difficulties or challenges you've faced? And if there is data sharing, how are you handling the security and privacy of sensitive or proprietary data?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I will answer. Actually, depending on the security rules inside of the company. So here in Russia, we are not able to share a lot of the data by the government regulations in our industry. So and when we are implementing the data platform, I mean OSDU platform, we need to implement it on premise. That thing, what we are doing, we are adopting that platform, which is available as a cloud solution for many oil companies across the world, but not available for us. That's what we are doing. And now OSDU platform developing for both solution, cloud solution, where we could place, where some company could place their data, and as on-premise solution. And also, when we are working with the universities, we can anonymize some kinds of data and share anonymized data. This is the way how we share the data and do some AI and analytical activities. Maybe Andzhey could add something.
Yeah, so one of the principles that we're trying to work on is make a market of models. And in order to exchange with models and AI solutions the same interface for the data to educate the models and to make these models plug and play, make the market of models. And the common approach for data API opens doors for entering this market, which we don't have yet. So one of the issues regarding the exchange of data between the organizations is a hard question, but it's not the only part of the question. The other part of the question is exchanging models on the market from the startups and other companies, providers of some services. And in order to enable this market, we need to have a common standards for data API, which OSDU actually provides and enables also this market.
Okay, so you've implemented the common data model and the APIs as well. Were there challenges that you faced as you were implementing these open standards to your internal business processes and infrastructure?
Actually, for most of the business processes that we have, we need to develop data API, because before the access to the data was direct through the common SQL requests, and we're trying to build this layer with a data abstraction like data API. We need to develop it in any way, using OSDU standards or other. So not all the interfaces for the data we have already described in OSDU. So we can develop APIs in a sense of these services and then export to OSDI community. And then our APIs became standard also in those cases when it's not a part of the standards right now. So it's a complementary work. It doesn't prevent us from going ahead. It helps us to do what we in any case will do, make also a standard.
So you're definitely on the journey. Next, a question about data governance. Earlier in your presentation, Alexander, you described adopting data domains, and you said it was from a product perspective. Do your data domains cross business units? And what challenges did you face when you were establishing those data domains?
Yeah, it's a good question, and we actually spend a lot of time for the creating these data domains. And the first challenge which we had, it was to map the business processes with the organizational structure and with the data domain leaders. Why it's challenge? because in our process catalog, not every time we have actual description of the business processes. And we had a case when a huge division create the new, absolutely the new, or the whole list of the business processes, but they placed it only in their internal documents, which is not available all across the company. And we recognize it at the end of the process. So, and we need to rebuild the data domains. Another thing, it's there is not enough specialists inside of the business units who has enough experience and can be the data enthusiast who can promote these kinds of new ways of dealing with the data, because it's not our core business. You know, we are producing the oil and selling it, and the data, it's something new, and digital projects, it's something new. And here is huge cultural issues and changes what we are doing. Yeah, and what else? What in your questions?
For when you define the domains, does that cross business units, or is it unique to that organization?
Some of them cross business, and some of them unique for upstream and downstream. For example, we have data domains which include finance data, and finance data all across the company. It's a common shared data for all levels of management. And some of the data domains specific, for example, onshore oil production, it's only for the upstream related, not for downstream, for example. As the same for retail. Retail has their own, you know, it's not only about the data domains, it's also about data model and entities and attributes in the data model. Some of them common, some of them unique.
Okay, well, we don't have any other audience questions at this time. Would you like to make some closing statements?
Sure. So I'd like to say that we worked harder near 3 years, and I think we did a lot. We work on the data services, we work on the data platform, we work on the implementation of data services. But, you know, 3 years is nothing for the data governance implementation for industrial companies. It's a really long way, and it is a process. And I'd like to say that we need to go the way, and during this way, change the direction and trying to support business activities and together with the business units create some additional value and additional profit. That's what I'd like to say at the end.
Okay, well, Alexander and Andzhey, thank you for sharing GAZPROM's data governance journey with our audience.
Thank you for letting us chance to share what we have. Thank you.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you.